Hello everyone and welcome back to the channel. I hope you're all safe and well. Now on today's episode I will be going through 3 jazz albums from my collection. I'm going to talk about each one in turn and why I feel that they should be recommended to you or at least brought up on your radar. So the first album today, let me just adjust things here, is a 1979 release. It's by a gentleman called Dick Griffin and the album's entitled Now Is the Time. There you go. Yeah, I'm not sure about the cover. Yeah, I'm really not sure. But yeah, we'll move past that for the moment. So this album is so good. It's criminally underrated. I can't emphasize that enough. I'm glad that it came up on my radar and I took a chance with it. Yeah, but I'll try and explain why. This is an enjoyable journey through spiritual, jazz fusion and funk as well. So it's got a bit of everything on this particular album. An engaging and optimistic album filled with well-crafted compositions and subtle displays of musicianship. Ooh. Mr. Griffin, so despite him playing with some of the heavyweights of jazz, the name Dick Griffin doesn't carry the kind of kudos or cachet that I feel that he should perhaps deserve, and that's a real shame. But yeah, super glad that this came up on my radar once again. It's been a revelation. Now, yeah, he's a fantastic trombonist, and when I was thinking about the overall listening experience, I couldn't help but feel that outside of Julian Priester, I can't think of any other person, any other musician, certainly who plays the trombone, who have made me reconsider the instrument as of the trombone, because usually I just think of it, yeah, it's present in most jazz bands, but it's kind of like the ugly cousin in comparison to the saxophone. But this album and Dick Griffin himself have made me think otherwise, because the trombone in his hand and somebody like Julian Priester, the trombone just takes on a whole new identity. There's a, they're able to unlock the charm of the instrument. They're able to give the the playing of the trombone, you feel a sense of grace from the instrument, which most other professional trombone players can't really do, for me anyway. I don't really get that sense, but those two, and particularly Dick Griffin, who we're talking about today, yeah, he just made me, really sit up and take notice of what can be done with a trombone. His skill in playing the instrument is unbelievable. It really is. Yeah, I can't speak more highly of it. I just think, yeah, this, if you're gonna play it like this. Like this guy knows what he's doing. So the tracks that I would recommend from this particular album are Peaceful Thinking, which is lovely. Waltz with My Son, which is, yeah, equally as good. And the track Now Is the Time, which is the title track, and that's a more vocal one. So yeah, a nice slice of what he's capable of. Have a listen to those tracks, see what you think, see if it's going to fit into your collection. The notables on this particular album are Herbert Eves on piano, who does a lovely job, Calvin Hill on bass, and Freddie Waits on drums, who, again, I just get there's so much positivity on this album. There's so many things which are good about this album, and that's why it's slightly annoying that this album doesn't get probably the respect that it truly does deserve. It's earned it. It's that good. I bought this album cheap as chips. In the relative scheme of prices nowadays for vinyl, This one was relatively cheap. The vinyl was on the lighter side. Nothing to, get my blood boiling, if I recollect correctly, but it's definitely on the lighter side. But I was willing to overlook it in terms of what was contained on the actual vinyl itself, and that's really where the joy is to be found. So have a listen to it, see what you think, see if it's going to fit into your collection. But I'm certainly a person who's really grateful to have stumbled across it. It worked out lovely, what can I say? So that's the first album today. The second album, you would have seen me, I think this came out, was repressed for and released again for the 2020 Record Store Day. That's where I happened to pick it up. Now, I've got a small but expanding collection of Japanese jazz albums which I absolutely adore, some of which goes over my head at this moment. I haven't really fully got to grips with it, and I saw this particular artist. I knew of at least one track of his which is more on the jazz fusion side, but yeah, when I saw this album come up, I had to have it just to, delve more into what he's truly about and his, what his legacy in jazz is going to be. So this is a 1971 release. That was such a preamble there, do forgive me. The gentleman's name is Masahiko, and the album's entitled Love Nature. There you go. It's got that kind of yin yang symbol, but it's like got graffiti all over it. It's a gatefold cover, so I'm going to show you the inside as well. There you go. Yeah, that's real nice. I can't complain. Packaging is, yeah, it's lovely. Lovely cover. Vinyl weight is really good as well. No complaints in those particular regards. So I shall share some of my thoughts about this album. Crikey, what an album. This was some journey, and I underlined that twice. For good reason, I was intimidated by this album. There is no messing around with this particular, the content of this album. It's like you're all in. It's like playing poker, and it's literally I'm all in. You can't be on the peripheries and try to like mess about with this. No, it's not going to allow that. Yeah, this is a slice of high jazz in my opinion. It's a no compromise affair. A fantastic combination of compositions of quality and originality with top tier musicianship. Yeah, it's mind blowing how good this is. Side A is phenomenal. You'll recognize almost immediately that you've encountered something of true class. Yeah, again, I'm not going to disagree with that on retrospect. However, and here's the caveat stroke elephant in the room. However, side B was, truth to be told, too much for me. My brain suffered a sensory overload from all that I was hearing. And yeah, even, a few days later after the experience, I still can't tell you what was happening on side B of this particular album. I just don't know. It was a form of jazz that I can't cope with for whatever reason, and I'm happy to admit that. There's, I don't like all jazz. Yeah, I just don't. It's personal preference. Someone else might be able to will encounter it, and it just, it ticks all their boxes. But that side B on this particular one, for me, no, I couldn't handle it. I had to just like say no, I give up. I had to yeah, I basically surrendered. I said no, I can't go through this, it's too much. In spite of that, the tracks that I would recommend are Each Other and Love Nature. They're the two tracks on side A. So please give those a listen, see what you think, see if you agree or disagree with me, and have a listen to Sister Mayumi, which is the single track on side B of this album, and let me know if you got through the experience, and if you did, what was your concluding thoughts about the experience. Now, notables on this album are Gary Bartz on sax. Yeah, you know where you stand with Mr. Bartz. Reggie Workman on bass, who's just unbelievable. And Eric Gravatt on drums. Yeah, I've heard that. I'm sure I've mentioned his name in association with another high tier jazz outfit. I just can't think of what it is off the top of my head. Perhaps I'm one of those people who need to, like, start up an Excel spreadsheet so I can cross-reference all these things, but yeah, that involves time and effort. I'm not sure I'm willing to do that, but the thought was a nice one anyway. But definitely Mr. Gravatt on drums does a nice job. So check out this album. Prices are creeping up for it on vinyl. As with Japanese jazz, it's like sometimes when you see it, you got to get hold of it, because you will spend the next 20 years trying to find it at a reasonable price. So yeah, if it's once you've listened to it, if you feel that it's something for you, give it a go. So that's the second album. The third and final album today just is an absolute stonker in my opinion. It's by, well, it was released in 1980, but it was actually recorded in 1968. And it's by one of my jazz heroes. I don't even think I've done a video with any of his material up until now. And that is Andrew Hill, and the album's entitled Dance with Death. Yeah, I like it. I like the cover. It's what Blue Note does. I know there is another cover for it, something less engaging. So I'm glad I've got this particular copy with this version of the cover. Yeah, it's more to my taste. For me, this is a mind-blowingly good album. It's so good that you begin to question, can you really be listening to something as engaging as this, or is it your mind playing tricks on you? Yeah, I had a couple of thoughts like that. It was like, wow, time seemed to have just stopped when listening to it. Although I could still hear the tune, it's like everything else just didn't matter, to be quite honest, until the track was over. Then it's like, yeah, reality kicked in again. That's, yeah, you might think I'm overblowing it, but I really had a good time with this particular album. In my collection of jazz, Herbie Hancock probably occupies the number one position of the go-to jazz pianist. I respect Herbie Hancock and his versatility and skill, which I think everybody else would say, yeah, he's truly up there. But is he better than Andrew Hill? Or is Andrew Hill better than him? I can't really say that Herbie is better than him. I can't say that. Just like, and just leave it at that. No, they're very close. Yeah, Herbie has a like bigger output, but in terms of skill and versatility and just presence on a piano, Andrew Hill is just up there. He is a joy to behold. His back catalogue of, yeah, like I said, it's not as big as Herbie's, but what he does have is something to behold. It really is just bonkers how good he is. Yeah, it's the strength of the musicianship and quality of compositions featured on this album is simply staggering how good it is. So if you don't have this in your collection, I would strongly advise having a listen to it as soon as possible and see if you can get your hands on it. There is a reoccurring motif to be found on the album, which conjures up in my mind something tangibly tragic, something heartbreaking. Yet I can't say that this is overall a sentimental piece. Now, when you do get to hear it, you may agree or disagree with my sentiments there, but there is something really unique going on this particular album, and I have quite a nice selection of jazz albums. This one seems to, it's right up there, This is like, yeah, it's really up there. I don't really want to try and say where it appears in my top 10, top 20, but it's going to be up there. The tracks that I would recommend from this album would be Yellow Violet is the first track, Love Nocturne, and Dance with Death, which is the title track. So give those three a listen, see what you think. See, you may feel that I've over egged it, I've overhyped how good Andrew Hill is. I don't think I have. I think if anything, I've downplayed how good he is. But yeah, have a listen for yourself. The notables on this album are Charles Tolliver on trumpet. Now, on recent episodes, you will perhaps know that I've gone through a lovely phase of discovering more of Mr. Tolliver's work, and I'm really happy to. Yeah, it just didn't occur to me, because I've had this album for some time. It didn't occur to me that that's one in the same person. Yeah, his quality stands out. Billy Higgins on drums. Mr. Higgins is, yeah, he's been on God knows how many different in groups and on albums. He's a go-to man on drums, definitely. And Joe Farrell on sax, again, who does a lovely job, an underrated performer in my experience, and I'll perhaps be trying to find some of Mr. Farrell's work if it is available. But yeah, please have a listen to this album for your own good, and just for your jazz knowledge. You're going to benefit from listening to what Mr. Hill is capable of. So that's the final album today. Thank you so much for joining me today. Hopefully it's been entertaining and informative, and I think I've picked out 3 albums for you, which when you do get to hear them, if you've never heard them before, you're in for an absolute treat. So yes, please consider subscribing, liking and sharing and commenting down below. So until the next episode, please look after yourselves, stay safe, and I will see you with another episode shortly. So until then, take care of yourselves. Bye bye.